Welcome back to our chilling series, where we delve into the shadowy corners of the unexplained and uncover the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil. In this fourth installment of Real Paranormal Events Caught on Camera, we shine a light, albeit a dim one, on some of the most spine-tingling, hair-raising moments ever captured through the lens of a camera. From eerie EVP recordings to full-bodied apparitions caught in grainy footage, these are not mere campfire tales or urban legends. They are documented phenomena that defy logic and challenge our understanding of reality. There's something uniquely unsettling about paranormal events caught on camera. The evidence is tangible, undeniable proof that something strange is happening, something science cannot easily explain. These moments freeze time, preserving the inexplicable for us to revisit, analyze, and question. Whether it's a flicker of movement in an empty room, a disembodied voice whispering from static-filled audio, or an object moving seemingly of its own accord, each piece of footage offers a glimpse into a world that exists parallel to ours, yet remains tantalizingly out of reach. In this episode, we'll explore real-life encounters with the supernatural, all backed by video or photographic evidence. We'll peer into haunted homes where cameras have captured inexplicable activity, venture into abandoned asylums where ghost hunters stumbled upon chilling anomalies, and examine infamous cases that continue to baffle experts and skeptics alike. Along the way, we'll hear first-hand accounts from witnesses brave enough to share their stories, dissect the footage frame by frame, and attempt to unravel the enigmas hidden within these haunting clips. So dim the lights, grab your popcorn, and maybe a flashlight, and prepare yourself for a journey into the unknown. As we step into the realm of the paranormal, remember, sometimes, the truth is stranger and far more terrifying than fiction. And once you've seen what lies beyond the lens, there's no turning back. The Enfield Poltergeist, Shadows in the Suburbs. One of the most infamous paranormal cases ever recorded took place in a quiet suburb of London during the late 1970s. Known as the Enfield Poltergeist, this harrowing event unfolded over 2 years and left an indelible mark on both paranormal investigators and skeptics alike. At the center of the chaos were two young sisters, Janet and Margaret Hodgson, whose home became a hotbed of inexplicable activity ranging from flying furniture to disembodied voices. What set this case apart was the extensive documentation captured by witnesses, including photographs, audio recordings, and even video footage, all of which remain some of the most compelling evidence of poltergeist activity to date. The trouble began in August 1977 when the Hodgson family started hearing loud knocking sounds coming from the walls of their modest council house. Initially dismissing it as structural issues or neighborhood noise, the family soon realized something far more sinister was at play. Objects began moving on their own, levitating off tables and shelves before crashing to the ground. Doors slammed shut without explanation, and cold spots materialized in random parts of the house. But perhaps the most disturbing phenomenon involved Janet, the younger sister, who claimed to be physically assaulted by unseen forces. She reported being thrown from her bed, scratched, and even choked while lying in her bedroom. Among the most chilling pieces of evidence is a series of audio recordings made by paranormal investigator Guy Lyon Playfair. Using tape recorders strategically placed throughout the house, Playfair captured dozens of hours of EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, sessions. One particularly unnerving recording features a deep, guttural voice declaring, "Get out of my house!" followed by maniacal laughter. Another clip includes the voice of a deceased man named Bill Wilkins, whose identity was later confirmed by neighbors as a former occupant of the property. The voice repeatedly stated his name and insisted he had been murdered, a claim corroborated by historical records showing Wilkins died under suspicious circumstances decades earlier. Video footage also played a crucial role in documenting the Enfield poltergeist. A local news crew invited to investigate the claims captured several startling moments on camera. In one instance, a heavy armchair slid across the floor entirely on its own, stopping abruptly near the fireplace. Another clip shows Janet sitting cross-legged on her bed when suddenly she's flung backward, landing hard against the wall behind her. Despite multiple eyewitnesses present during filming, no visible force could be identified as responsible for these movements. Perhaps the most iconic image associated with the case is a photograph taken by journalist Graham Morris. While visiting the Hodgson residence, Morris snapped a picture of Janet standing in her bedroom. Upon reviewing the photo later, he noticed a dark figure crouched menacingly in the corner of the room, a detail neither he nor anyone else present had observed at the time. Experts analyzed the image extensively but found no signs of tampering, leaving many to speculate whether the figure represented Bill Wilkins or another malevolent entity tied to the haunting. Despite, or perhaps because of, the overwhelming evidence supporting the authenticity of the Enfield poltergeist, skeptics have long debated its legitimacy. Critics argue that much of the activity could have been fabricated by the children, pointing to instances where Janet appeared to fake certain incidents during live demonstrations. However, those close to the case counter that such claims fail to account for the sheer volume and consistency of documented phenomena spanning nearly 2 years. Moreover, several reputable investigators, including members of the Society for Psychical Research, conducted independent studies and concluded that many aspects of the haunting were genuine. Today, the Enfield poltergeist stands as one of the most thoroughly documented paranormal cases in history. Its legacy endures not only through the wealth of photographic and audio-visual evidence, but also through the countless lives touched by its unsettling narrative. For those brave enough to delve into the archives of this extraordinary case, the question remains: was the Hodgson family truly plagued by a restless spirit seeking justice, or were they unwitting participants in a grand cosmic experiment? Either way, the shadows cast by Enfield continue to linger, inviting us to peer deeper into the abyss of the unknown. The Amityville Horror captured chaos. Few paranormal cases have captured the public's imagination quite like the Amityville Horror. This infamous tale of terror unfolded in a sprawling Dutch colonial-style home located at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York. Purchased by the Lutz family in December 1975, the house quickly became synonymous with supernatural mayhem after George and Kathy Lutz claimed to experience a litany of bizarre occurrences over a 28-day period. What sets this case apart from others is the abundance of physical evidence allegedly captured during their ordeal, including photographs, audio recordings, and eyewitness testimonies that paint a chilling portrait of life inside a haunted house. The Lutz's nightmare began almost immediately after moving into the property, which had been the site of a grisly mass murder just over a year prior. On November 13, 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr. shot and killed 6 members of his family inside the home, claiming voices in his head compelled him to commit the atrocities. Though DeFeo's crimes provided ample fodder for speculation about residual energy lingering in the house, the Lutzes insisted their experiences went far beyond mere echoes of past violence. They described waking up every morning at precisely 3:15 a.m., a time coinciding with the murders, only to find green slime oozing from the walls. Doorknobs would twist on their own, and foul odors permeated the air despite no discernible source. Most alarmingly, George Lutz claimed to feel increasingly drawn toward the boathouse, where DeFeo had dumped his victims' bodies, as though an unseen force was attempting to pull him into darkness. Among the most compelling pieces of evidence supporting the Lutz's claims is a series of photographs taken by paranormal investigator Ed Warren. During a visit to the property shortly after the family fled, Warren captured several images purportedly showing spectral figures lurking in the background. One particularly unsettling photo depicts a transparent face peering through a second-story window, its expression contorted in anguish. Another shows what appears to be a glowing orb hovering near the staircase, a common indicator of spiritual presence according to proponents of paranormal research. Skeptics have scrutinized these photos extensively, yet none have been able to definitively prove them fraudulent. Audio recordings also played a pivotal role in documenting the alleged hauntings at Amityville. Using sensitive microphones and tape recorders, investigators captured numerous EVP sessions filled with ominous whispers and guttural growls emanating from empty rooms. One especially disturbing recording features a low, raspy voice commanding, "Get out!" followed by the sound of footsteps pounding down the hallway, despite no one being present in the vicinity. Witnesses described feeling waves of intense dread wash over them as they listened to the playback, unable to shake the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Perhaps the most iconic piece of evidence linked to the Amityville case is a photograph taken by Father Ralph Pecoraro, a Catholic priest summoned by the Lutzes to bless the home shortly after they moved in. According to Pecoraro, he felt an overwhelming sense of malevolence upon entering the house and heard a voice demand, "Get out!" When examining the photos later, he noticed a demonic face glaring at him from the upper right-hand corner of one image. Experts analyzed the photograph and ruled out any possibility of tampering, suggesting instead that the apparition might represent a vengeful spirit intent on driving intruders away. Despite, or perhaps because of, the wealth of evidence supporting the Lutz's claims, skepticism has dogged the Amityville horror since its inception. Critics argue that financial motives may have influenced the family's decision to fabricate their story, citing discrepancies between their original accounts and subsequent retellings. Others point to inconsistencies in witness statements and suggest natural explanations for many of the reported phenomena. Nonetheless, believers maintain that the sheer volume and variety of documented incidents make it impossible to dismiss the case outright. Today, the Amityville horror remains one of the most polarizing entries in the annals of paranormal history. Its legacy endures not only through books, films, and documentaries but also through the countless individuals inspired to investigate similar claims of hauntings worldwide. For those brave enough to sift through the mountain of evidence amassed during those fateful 28 days, the question lingers: was the Lutz family genuinely tormented by malevolent forces, or were they victims of their own imaginations run wild? Either way, the shadows cast by Amityville continue to beckon, daring us to confront the darkness within. The Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. Ghostly glamour. Few ghostly apparitions have achieved the same level of fame and fascination as the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. This spectral figure, said to haunt the Grand Estate in Norfolk, England, first gained widespread attention in 1936 when a photographer captured what many consider to be one of the most authentic ghost photographs ever taken. The image, featuring a translucent woman descending a staircase, has sparked endless debate among skeptics and believers alike, cementing the Brown Lady's status as one of history's most iconic phantoms. The legend of the Brown Lady dates back to the early 18th century, when Dorothy Walpole, the wife of Charles Townshend, lived at Raynham Hall. According to folklore, Dorothy fell deeply in love with Lord Wharton, a suitor disapproved of by her husband. When Charles discovered their affair, he reportedly locked Dorothy in her chambers, forbidding her from seeing Wharton again. Some versions of the tale claim she died under mysterious circumstances, either by falling down the stairs or succumbing to illness brought on by despair. Her spirit is said to roam the halls of Raynham Hall, forever clad in a brown brocade dress that earned her nickname. For centuries, reports of ghostly sightings trickled in from staff and visitors, describing a pale woman gliding silently through the corridors or standing motionless at the foot of the grand staircase. It wasn't until September 19, 1936, however, that the Brown Lady entered the global spotlight. That evening, photographers Captain Hubert C. Provand and Andy Shearer arrived at Raynham Hall to document the interior for Country Life magazine. As they set up their equipment on the staircase landing, Shearer suddenly noticed a vaporous figure emerging from an upstairs doorway. He shouted for Provand to take the shot, capturing the now famous image just moments before the apparition vanished. The photograph shows a ghostly woman descending the staircase, her features blurred but unmistakably feminine. She wears a flowing gown consistent with 18th century fashion and exudes an ethereal glow that contrasts sharply with the dim surroundings. Experts analyzing the negative found no signs of tampering or double exposure, leading many to conclude the image represents genuine paranormal activity. Over the years, skeptics have attempted to debunk the photo, suggesting everything from reflections to staged hoaxes. Yet, none have succeeded in offering a definitive alternative explanation, leaving the mystery intact. In addition to the iconic photograph, other pieces of evidence support the existence of the Brown Lady. Witnesses recount seeing her reflection in mirrors, catching glimpses of her face peering through windows, and hearing faint footsteps echoing through empty halls. One particularly chilling account comes from a maid who swore she saw Dorothy standing at the top of the stairs, her hollow eyes fixed on some unseen point below. Terrified, the maid fled the scene, refusing to return to Raynham Hall ever again. Modern investigations into the Brown Lady phenomenon have yielded mixed results. Paranormal teams equipped with thermal imaging cameras and EMF detectors have documented significant temperature drops and electromagnetic spikes in areas associated with Dorothy's appearances. Audio recordings capture faint whispers and the rustle of fabric, as though someone is moving invisibly nearby. One investigator claimed to see a shadowy figure resembling the brown lady vanish into thin air while reviewing infrared footage, adding another layer of intrigue to the already enigmatic case. Despite, or perhaps because of, the controversy surrounding her existence, the brown lady continues to captivate audiences worldwide. Her story serves as a reminder of the fine line between love and obsession, loyalty and betrayal, life and death. For those brave enough to explore the hallowed halls of Raynham Hall, the promise of encountering this elegant spectre adds an element of fascination and trepidation. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the creaking floorboards, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to face the echoes of the past, or will they become another chapter in the mansion's macabre legacy? Patterns across paranormal cases, themes of tragedy and resilience as we traverse the haunted landscapes of documented paranormal events, from the blood-soaked fields of Gettysburg to the somber grounds of Andersonville. Striking similarities emerge that transcend individual locations and histories. These patterns are not merely coincidental but reflect universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the wailing wards of hospitals to the shadowed basements of monuments, these sites share a commonality that binds them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the victims of unethical experiments, or the betrayed trust of patients subjected to inhumane treatments, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic buildings, with their labyrinthine corridors, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: operating rooms where surgeries went awry, basements where bodies were stored, or wards where patients met tragic ends. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing guests to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from various haunted hospitals, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The brutal medical practices embedded in the DNA of older establishments contrast sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized in urban legends. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted places transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. What is it about paranormal evidence that grips our imaginations so profoundly? Beyond the creaking floorboards and flickering lights lies a deeper allure, one rooted in the psychology of fear and the human fascination with the unknown. These pieces of evidence, photographs, videos, audio recordings, are more than mere artifacts, they are tangible connections to realms beyond our comprehension. When we encounter such material, we are confronted with the possibility that the world is far stranger than we imagine, transforming familiar settings into arenas of existential dread. The combination of visual proof, auditory phenomena, and the lingering presence of past suffering creates a perfect storm of terror that resonates deeply within us. The core of this captivation is the concept of liminality, the state of being on the threshold between two worlds. Paranormal evidence exists in this liminal space, bridging life and death, health and illness, hope and despair. This inherent duality makes it fertile ground for supernatural narratives. Ghosts, as manifestations of unresolved trauma or unfinished business, embody the tension of being caught between states. They serve as reminders that the boundaries we construct, between life and afterlife, sanity and madness, are far more permeable than we'd like to believe. For many, viewing a piece of paranormal evidence feels like stepping into a twilight zone where the rules of reality no longer apply, igniting both curiosity and unease. Architecturally, haunted places contribute to this atmosphere of dread through their design. Long, sterile hallways lined with identical doors create a sense of disorientation, while poor lighting and echoing acoustics heighten sensory awareness. These features mimic the psychological effects of anxiety and claustrophobia, making even mundane sounds, a distant cough, the hum of fluorescent lights, feel ominous. The labyrinthine layouts of older structures, with their hidden wings and underground tunnels, evoke feelings of entrapment and uncertainty. Every corner becomes a potential threat, every shadow a possible harbinger of danger. This environmental manipulation taps into our instinctual fight-or-flight response, keeping us perpetually on edge. Cultural influences also play a significant role in shaping our fascination with paranormal evidence. Media representations, from films like The Shining to television series such as American Horror Story, have cemented the trope of the haunted asylum, courthouse, or battlefield as a locus of horror. These portrayals often blend historical truths with fictional embellishments, creating a mythology that blurs fact and fiction. Audiences are drawn to these stories because they reflect societal anxieties about institutional power, systemic injustice, and the fragility of the human mind. Haunted places become microcosms of larger fears, the loss of agency, the misuse of authority, and the haunting specter of mistakes made in the name of progress. Moreover, paranormal evidence appeals to our desire for catharsis. Engaging with these tales allows us to process our own fears about mortality, injustice, and the flaws inherent in systems meant to protect us. By confronting ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena, we externalize internal anxieties, transforming abstract fears into tangible adversaries. This vicarious experience provides a safe outlet for exploring the darker aspects of human existence, offering both thrill and relief. It's no wonder that ghost tours and paranormal investigations of haunted places attract participants eager to test their courage against the unknown. Ultimately, the enduring allure of paranormal evidence lies in its ability to mirror our deepest fears while challenging our understanding of reality. It reminds us that the past is never truly buried, that pain and injustice leave indelible marks on both people and places. As we walk their haunted halls, we are forced to confront not only the spirits said to inhabit them but also the ghosts within ourselves, the regrets, doubts, and unanswered questions that linger long after the wounds have healed. In doing so, we find a strange comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our fears, that others have walked these same paths and emerged, shaken but alive, to tell their stories. As we bring this chilling journey through real paranormal events caught on camera to a close, one thing becomes abundantly clear: the spirits of the past refuse to be silenced. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a testament to lives lived, lost, and lingering in the spaces we dare to call haunted. These stories are more than mere campfire tales. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the relentless passage of time. They remind us that the line between the living and the dead is far thinner than we might believe, and that sometimes, the most terrifying truths lie just beyond the veil. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of these haunted locations yourself. Walk the same fields where soldiers once fought, stand in the rooms where history's echoes reverberate, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these forsaken institutions offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond comprehension. There's nothing quite like experiencing the weight of decades-old despair firsthand, feeling the chill of a presence that defies explanation, or hearing the faint strains of voices from another time. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint tap of footsteps in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Share your findings with fellow enthusiasts, document your journey, and keep the conversation alive. After all, every whisper contributes to the symphony of the supernatural. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.